I've got 2 series ideas, which one should I pick? How about both at the same time? That should do the trick. 22 full years of questing, no banks or death, this will be fun. RuneScape 3 Hardcore Ultimate Ironman, questing through 2001. Welcome back to January 21st, 2001. We did not spend a huge amount of time on this day, since there was only the one quest, Ernest the Chicken, that we finished last time. So we are free to move on. Unlike the first update, where we didn't have exact dates of when various bits were added, we do actually have a few dates we're going to travel through here before we get to our next quest. Starting off right here in an empty field in the western part of Varrock. Although it won't be empty right now. If we look at our time-accurate minimap here, we will see a very slight change as we transition to January 23rd, 2001. Well, that's right. There is a bank here now. Wow. Look at that. Who would have thunk it? Let me immediately get out of here. No interest in any of that. And even if you were here when this bank was added, the first bank, only one in the world, it's not exactly the most exciting. You go from everyone in the game has to play Ultimate Ironman to everyone in the game has to play Ultimate Ironman except you can store your coins in the bank. Which is nice. I'll give you that. Not having everything that you've worked for on you at all times, when everywhere except for Lumbridge is PvP zone unless you turn that off. Probably a good idea. But we don't have even that luxury. Eventually we'll be able to put the coins in the coin pouch to save the inventory space, but that's not for a while. So we are stuck with our coins right here. Or I guess we could drop them. That's an option if it comes to that, but let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Along with the bank, we also get the anvils here. Possibly not at the same time, but it is on the official maps by February, so it's here at some point. For us, it's probably a better anvil to go to than Horvik's, just because Max can run through the anvil here, giving me extra things that I could possibly click on, which is annoying. There's a penguin. That doesn't exist. Just ignore it. Just ignore it. But yeah. When I'm trying to do my smithing here, Max runs in and stands next to the anvil where I'm trying to click on it. So, overall, I think we're probably going to use the new anvil, just because it's slightly better. If very, very slightly. I guess we could go down this alleyway. There's similar distances, so the difference between the two is not a big deal. You would think its proximity to the bank here would be helpful, but again, the bank only stores coins right now. I suppose if you want to trade with a bunch of people and keep most of your coins in the bank, not really though. There is no noting system, so you have to trade people as they run from the furnace, which is now in Lumbridge or Alcarid. Entire economies working together here. Really getting started. But yeah, that is the 23rd. Staying here in Varrock for the next update. No changes to the map this time as we move to January 27th, 2001. What we do get is a bit of magical stuff. We can trade Zaf here, where we now have access to the same elemental staffs that were here before, but now they actually give the elemental runes. So that is super nice. For 1,500 coins, we could pick up this Staff of Air. And for us, that's going to give us infinite air strikes, which is technically not accurate for a lot of reasons. One, airstrike doesn't exist yet, but yeah. And since it's a regular Staff of Air, even if we'll be able to cast infinite air bolts, and air blasts, and air waves, and air surges, it's capped by the staff level being 1, so still not great, but infinite free magic, even at a slow pace, is still better than we can get for ranged. Speaking of magic spells, we actually get some new ones. Although we are still in the good magic, evil magic situation, we did get 4 new spells, one of which we've even unlocked, since we have 10 magic already. Good magic got Rock Skin and Wind Bolt. Look at that. Air Bolt, that's close. And then evil magic got Elemental Bolt, which is very interesting. Uses each of the elemental runes, but no mind runes or anything. So we got an attack spell, which doesn't use the catalytic runes. Foreshadowing? Not really. And then also Fear. So one of these is a prayer. One of these is a spell that actually pretty much exists, except it uses fire runes instead of chaos runes or no runes whatsoever. It's closer. And it's also a slightly different magic level, but that's fine. And then Fear causes the opponent to retreat. It's an interesting idea. Retreating is definitely a thing in RuneScape Classic. But all of this magic update, we also get a little bit of a bone thrown over to ranged. We still only have the regular starting range equipment. That's going to be the same way for a while. But now, arrows are faster by like 50% or something. So you can now train ranged more quickly. Still doesn't give hit points experience or something like that. It's in a weird state, for sure. We are still very much in the figuring out the game stage here. Along with these combat updates, there's also one more. And that is death mechanics. Prior to this date, you would just lose everything. Because the update for here is you get to keep 3 items on death. Isn't that nice? Not something we are going to be worrying about. Hardcore and all that. But yeah, keep 3 items. So you can keep 3 items on death, you can store your coins in the bank. Things are looking up. Things are looking up. But with that, it's time to go over to where we need to be for the last date change for today. Once again, we find ourselves standing in a completely empty field for a singular day, because as we tick over to January 28th, 2001, our map is updated again, and we are now in Draenor Village. A tiny, tiny portion of Draenor Village. We've got 4 buildings here. The northern, or northeast, northwest, and southeast buildings have nothing in them whatsoever. And the only person in this village is Morgan, who we will be talking to momentarily to start Vampyre Slayer. But before we do that, let's look at the rest of Draenor Village that doesn't exist yet. We've got Morgan's wife, Maris, who is not here until 2009. We've got a pottery area up here. Crafting doesn't even exist. In here we had somebody. The mysterious old man. For once random events exist and then are removed, he gets to live here now. Or then. Something. Going further down, we've got Aggie's house, Ned's house, the wise old man's house, the pigs, the market, the bank, the willow trees, the fishing spots. None of these, for a variety of reasons. Like the fact that fishing and willow trees don't exist. This bank isn't here. The only bank is still just for these last 2 days still. It's been a few more than that. It's been 5 days that the Varak Bank has existed. But not this one. Nope. We've just got 4 buildings with 1 person inside. So I suppose we can start Vampyre Slayer. Originally, this was Vampyre Slayer with an I. That was changed in 2011 when the game moved from vampires to vampires. It's a totally different thing, or something. Originally, Vampyre Slayer with an I was missed until they noticed that it was still Vampyre Slayer and changed it like the next week. Ultimately, that's not a huge difference. There was also a small bit of changes in 2009. Just mostly graphical. Nothing to time travel about or anything. But there is one thing that we can go and look at before we start the quest. Count Draenor is now down below in Draenor Manor. And we can go and see him. And get attacked by a tree. We're okay. If we head down here, before starting the 2009 slightly reworked version, and try to open the coffin here, a foolish idea, for sure. He comes out of the coffin, rematerializes over here, being level 28. We walk over to confront him, like the fools that we are, and he whacks us in the face. We can't do any damage. Oh, we can do some damage. We can't kill him, though. We are taking some damage ourselves, though. I don't want to test this theory, but depending on... I don't know if you have to die for it to happen, and I don't want to test that. But he can lock you in this little jail over here. Why would I want to lock myself in a cage? Good question. But then you can crawl through the cracked wall to escape. I think he might need to kill you, but then he doesn't actually kill you. Then you go in there. I'm not going to try that, though. Not going to try it. Would be a foolish waste of the hardcore to try to die on purpose. Also, if we look at the Draenor Manor map here, we can see that there's actually a building right here. So technically we need to go around this way. But yeah, that is an interesting thing you can do only one time. Because after he locks you in the first time, you actually can't get locked in there again. But yeah, we have half health now, so that's great. We have to avoid going into any banks, so that doesn't auto-heal us. But it's not like we have any business going into a bank, so I think we'll be fine. Yeah, we're gonna have a bit of a fight ahead of us. But that is what we're here for. Time to start Vampire Slayer. We have seen firsthand what we're up against here. So let's talk to Morgan. Praise Saradomin, he has brought you here to save us all. What? He has guided your steps to my door, so that I may beseech you to save my village from a terrible threat. Why don't you save your own village? I could not. I couldn't. The fear grips me like a hand. I tremble at the idea of leaving my house. What is this terrible threat? Our village is plagued by a vampire. He visits us frequently and demands blood payments, or he will terrorize us all. This vampire showed up all of a sudden and started attacking your village? I don't know. I just moved here with my wife. 2009. We'd move on again, but we're down on our luck and can't afford to. So instead you're gonna get hunted by a vampire. Besides, I don't want to abandon other innocents to this fate. This could be a good community if only that vampire would leave us. Will you help me, brave adventurer? There's probably some dialogue changes from the original where he was the only person here in town. But yes, with some effort, this can become a vibrant community in the future. But we will start Vampire Slayer. We're going to need a beer later, but that is easily obtainable. That's not a problem. And a few other things, which we can all get along the way in the quest here. Accept. Yes, I'll help you. Wonderful. You will succeed, I'm sure of it. You're very brave to take this on, but I think you should speak to my friend Harlow before you do anything else. Who is this Harlow? He's a retired vampire slayer. I met him when I was a missionary long ago. He'll be able to advise you on the best methods to vanquish this vampire. You already know a vampire slayer? What do you need me for? Harlow is past his prime. He's seen too many evil things in his life, and to forget them, he drinks himself into oblivion. I fear he will slay vampires no more. Where can I find this Harlow? He spends his time at the Blue Moon Inn, located in Varrock. If you enter Varrock from the south, it is the second building on your right. I'm sure it's filled with lively people, so you shouldn't miss it. Okay, I'll go find Harlow. May Ceridome protect you, my friend. Alright. So we have to slay the vampire that we nearly let slay us. Oh. Let's not do that, shall we? We need to head to Varrock. There's a few ways we could go to get there. We could go back to Lumbridge, take the delightful new northern bridge that we have access to. Or we can just run up here through a barbarian village. Continue to ignore everything west of here, though. That's not here. Don't worry about it. We will get there when we get there. But yes. Morgan told us to go to the Blue Moon Inn in southern Varrock. But originally, Harlow was up in the Jolly Boar Inn on the edge of the world. Way up here in the corner. Eventually, he has moved to the Blue Moon Inn, since the Jolly Boar is too close to what will eventually be the wilderness, and people were accidentally wandering into dangerous zones trying to do this quest. So that wasn't very helpful. And we also technically need a hammer for this quest, which we could buy at the general store if we didn't already have one in the inventory. Ta-da. But that hammer is not actually going to work anymore, so either way, we need to come over here and talk to Dr. Harlow. But we also need to get some beers. Talk to the bartender here. What can I do you for? A glass of your finest ale, please. No problemo. That'll be 2 coins. And another. Glass of your finest ale. 2 coins. Ta-da. So now, we can talk to Dr. Harlow here. Buy me a drink, please. We could tell him he's already had enough. Ask him if he is Dr. Harlow, the famous vampire slayer. Or dismiss him entirely and just say he's a drunk. Let's choose the one that's actually going to make some progress here. Are you Dr. Harlow, the famous vampire slayer? Depends who is asking. Your friend Morgan sent me. He said you could teach me how to slay a vampire? Sure, I can teach you. I was the best vampire slayer ever. Buy me a drink and I'll teach you. Your good friend Morgan is living in fear of a vampire and all you can think about is beer? Buy us a drink anyway. Okay. Did you buy us a drink? Okay, here you go. You give a beer to Dr. Harlow. Cheers, matey. So, tell me how to kill vampires, then. Yes, vampires. I was very good at killing them once. Vampire slaying is not to be undertaken lightly. You must go in prepared or you will die. A stake is an essential tool for any vampire slayer. The stake must be used in the final blow against the vampire, or his dark magic will regenerate him to full health. Always carry a spare, so you can have one. Dr. Harlow hands you a stake. Nice. You'll need a special hammer as well, to drive it in properly. I think I have a spare hammer you can have. Dr. Harlow hands you a strange hammer. One last thing. It's wise to carry garlic with you. Vampires are slightly weakened if they can smell garlic. Garlic is pretty common. I know I always advised Morgan to keep a supply, so you might be able to get some from him. If not, I know they sell it in Port Sarim. Port Sarim doesn't exist, so we're going to have to talk to Morgan. Okay. So those are the supplies I need, but how do I actually kill him? You are an eager one. Killing a vampire is dangerous. Never forget that. Go in prepared with food, check, and armor, check. But understand that you may die. It's a risk we all take in this business. I've seen many fine men and women die at the hands of vampires. Enter the vampire's lair and attempt to open the coffin. He should be asleep in there, so try to use the stake on him. As you're new at this, you'll probably just wake him up, and the real fight begins. Fight him until he's nearly dead, and, when the moment is right, stake him through the heart and hammer it in. It's gruesome, but it's the only way. Once he's dead, speak to Morgan so he can notify the village. Thank you very much. So we've got the stake, we got the hammer, we got this beer. I think we'd probably drink this. It's gonna give us some health back. 10. Not great. And let's eat this kebab. How much is this gonna heal? 14. Mediocre. Might just wait around for a little bit to naturally heal. Probably not necessary, really. But we still do have one more thing to do before we're done and ready to go fight the vampire. We need to go get some garlic. And so that is back at Morgan's. It's in a variety of places over the years. In cupboards, on shelves, just being there. But we can get it nevertheless. Just need to get back to Morgan's, and we should be able to find it. We can also talk to Morgan, see if he has anything to say about this information. See if there's any more vampire attacks while we were gone. Hopefully not. That'd be a bit of a disaster, because he's the only person that's even here anymore. How can I help, brave adventurer? I found out what equipment I need from Dr. Harlow. Oh? And what was that he told you to acquire? I already have a stake. Harlow gave me a spare. I have this special hammer made for striking stakes into vampires. I'll still need to get some garlic. Harlow did tell me to always keep garlic on me. He insisted on constant vigilance against any possible threats. I used to have a large supply of it, but it's been disappearing. I think my wife dislikes the smell. Feel free to look around and see if you can find any she missed. Help you with anything else? Nope. It's probably going missing from everyone taking it to go fight a vampire. Somehow, we search the food larder here and find nothing of interest, despite a literal bowl full of garlic and extra garlic just sitting here. They must be decorative garlic, hilariously enough. So we'll head upstairs to the bedside drawers here, where we can find some garlic. We can also take as many garlic as we want, which is something. And let's see what Maris has to say about this. If she doesn't like the smell of garlic, and it's just sitting in the drawer next to their bed, I can see that being pretty annoying. What can I do for you, brave adventurer? Do you have any garlic? What an odd question. Morgan always tries to carry some on him, but it makes him stink, so I hide it. Can't remember where I've put it, but somewhere in the house. Feel free to look around. So she's the one that put it in their bedside drawers. Yeah, alright, sure. That's something, I guess. We can't eat the garlic, so that's not gonna help. Let's just make our way over to the vampire. We do heal rather slowly, but that's also reasonable. Oh, there's one. We could time it to see exactly how long it takes. I'm not too worried about it. Ow, we just lost that one. We lost another one even. Or got one, I don't know. Unfortunate. And I need all the help I can get. As we saw, Count Draenor is not very low level. Our count level is 14, and his is 28. Originally, he was level 43, and then 34, and then 37, and now 28. And in 2015, he was buffed to be slightly more dangerous, like he was before. It's all a bit of a mess, all things considered, but we can manage. Hopefully we can manage. If we were fighting the pre-2015 quest boss buff version, when he had 1/6 of the health and did 1/3 of the damage, it wouldn't even be a question. Not even close. But now he's actually got some stats here. We've got 13 chickens, so hopefully that's enough. If not, we're gonna have to go kill a whole bunch of extra chickens for more experience and all that. We'll see about that. Yeah. This could take a little bit. Is it like... There's one more. Is it like a minute per one? That's ridiculous. That is quite the minimal life regeneration. Should be like, if it's really a minute, it should be like 10 times that much. Alright. Yeah, I don't think we're going to sit around here for 40 minutes, if that's really how long this takes. I just really don't want to have to go and get more chickens if this fails, but it's entirely possible that it would. Just move some stuff around in the inventory. We can take all the garlic we want. That's fine. Yeah, chicken's gonna heal us 20. I say we go for it. If we're gonna keep our health nice and high. We're not risking anything here. No reason to do so. And if we get low, or even kind of slightly low at all, if we run out of food, or anything even close to dangerous, we book it up the stairs. No questions asked. So, here we go. This time, we know that he's in here. We go in for the stake, but we don't get it deep enough to finish him off. He goes over here, being level 28. But now the real fight begins. We stab him with the dagger, and we do a little damage. We position ourselves in order to escape should the time come. He's got the stake in his heart, just not deep enough yet. He's weakened from the garlic. Our max hit is a 26, which is pretty solid. I'm going to eat. He hits more than we can heal in one bite, so let us heal up nice and high here. We've already got him under half health. He can hit pretty hard, though. We're going to eat some more. Ow. We could try some flinching methods here. That might be useful. We don't have access to any prayers or anything like that. We hit a 22. He hit a 28. Oh. One more hit. One more hit. There we go. Hammer it in. Boom. And, for some reason, he turns to stone. Then his head falls off. I should tell Morgan that I've killed the vampire. Probably could have tested this boss fight. Would have been a good idea. Would have brought more food, if I had known. But we managed, and we were never in any danger of death. If we get hit a little bit more, I would have ran up the stairs. It was fine. But yeah, the chicken is just terrible. Just awful. We need better food. And it's coming eventually. Well, it'll be okay. Well, there we go. One vampire defeated. And it only cost us basically everything we had. Dangerous. Dangerous stuff. So we get to return to Morgan here. And turn in the quest. I've killed the vampire. Praise Saradomin. Bless you. We were all saved. The vampire is slain. Quest complete. And here we are again. With experience rewards from quests in RuneScape Classic. The 3 quest points is correct. But the combat XP lamp is a bit off. This is the RuneScape 2 version. And eventually was switched into a lamp. And then it was switched into a lamp that can go into any skill. December 2017. But for us, this 4,825 combat XP is way more than it should be. With our measly 10 attack and the RuneScape Classic calculation of level times 150 plus 325, we should be getting 1,825 XP. So this combat lamp is exceedingly generous, to say the least. If we had come into here with, say, 30 attack, that'd be the correct XP drop. But we don't have that. The question is, do we go with the XP lamp here and all the juicy experience it contains? Or say we should have gotten way less, like a third of the XP. Our current attack experience is only 1,100, so this lamp would be a massive amount of levels. Realistically, it should be in the 10 levels-ish department based on the classic experience. If we look at our higher stats here, this is going to give us 4,800. That would get us to basically 6,000 XP. That is more than level 20. So I feel like that's probably too much. We've got a long road ahead of us, mostly stabbing chickens, in order to get that experience. If this came in smaller individual lamps, it'd be better. Like we did with Restless Ghost. And also, it's changed to any of the basic styles of combat. So there's also options to put in like magic, which obviously is not right. But I think 3,000 extra attack experience is probably too much. A little bit unbalanced. It would make my levels significantly higher. A bit too early here. Worst case scenario, we just stab some chickens. But I don't think this is going to work out. And we can technically reclaim it from Morgan at some later date. I guess we can reclaim it in RuneScape 2 once we're out of Classic. But by that point, 4,800 attack experience isn't going to be too useful. But not right now. We could have used it. It would have been fine. But it also would have gotten our combat levels much higher without equivalent Constitution XP. And there is a quest coming up that I'm a little bit concerned about. And having way less health would not be helpful. But for now, that is Vampire Slayer completed. Which will allow us to move on to the next bunch of updates and the next quest. Next time. Goodbye.